All right, back at it again, and this week is all about acclimation. So a couple of things trying to get used to this particular week. Number one, as stupid as it sounds, is shoes. So I'm back to wearing shoes. My heel is healing, and I'm going to work on my shoe game once again. Also, as part of that too, one of the things I'm trying to focus on for the next couple of weeks is doing both RPE and percentage-based work. So a lot of this stuff, it'll be a last set RPE of X amount. That being said, though, the weights are still going to be a little bit lighter. They're going to be moving well, which is very good for my mental psyche. But each week, we're going to be trying to bump those weights up as well and try to push myself when I feel like it's there. I'm also trying to focus more on some of the assistance and other rowing type movements. So I want to do a lot of back work and kind of focus on some of the things I've neglected over the past couple of months due to time. So as part of that, including the assistance work I'm doing to get up my aerobic capacity, I'm going to try to condense my training times down to a maximum of an hour and a half, which means I'm taking less rest between sets to get my heart rate up, and it's really been kicking my ass. So for example, this bench session you're seeing right here was like a 3x10 with nothing overly heavy. I think it's like 230 pounds or so. But as part of that, because I'm taking minimal rest between, it really gave me a good pump in my chest, and I was struggling by the last rep on the last set. So that's interesting, and I think it's going to help pay off in the end a little bit. Next day here, moved on to some block pulls, and I mentioned last week how I've been liking doing these because I'm not used to being in a good position where this bar is at the starting point. Normally my back is more hunched and rounded over, so it's nice to work on some of these things. Again, just slowly working on adding up more weight. Here we're doing some sets with 210 pounds. From there, more bench work on this particular day. Again, nothing really heavy here, 237 pounds. In this case, working on tempo work, which I find is really helpful because if I drop the weight too fast to my chest, I find that the tension is gone and it's harder for me to get a press after a pause. With the tempo work, I found that's really helped because it's more controlled and I feel like I keep the tension tighter on my muscles that I have. And some may debate that I have muscles or not, but then the press is a little bit easier. I mentioned here some of the accessory work I want to try to start implementing. I want to start using the dumbbells more. I also want to do a little bit of bicep work because I have a little bit of bicep, so I want to try to change that fact. But that's just something that I'll continue to work on. Here's my top squat work from day 3. There are a couple of sets of 5 here. These felt really, really good, so I'm happy about that, but definitely need to start upping the weight here. I set my training maxes really low starting off just because I wanted to get reacclimated, as I mentioned already. I think this is good for getting myself worked back up to heavier weight, but also, as I mentioned before, just my mental capacity as well, because my head's a little bit screwed up and I need a little bit of baby weight to be moving well to help feel good. Speaking of baby weight and moving well and feeling good, here's some of that other work I mentioned, some walking dumbbell lunges, then some kettlebell squats to thrusters. These are really interesting, especially given my ceiling height, but doing sets of 20 of these really kind of tires me out. And then just also some plank work as well. And this is something where my abs are burning after all the work I've done throughout the course of the day. So then moving on to the last day, I had some pulls from the floor. As I mentioned here, you can probably see my back a little bit rounded over, so this correlates to what I was saying with the block pulls, but these still felt really good. But that's going to be the case when you're only pulling sub 400 pounds here. Bench work also felt really good today, 254 pounds for sets of 5. I thought these moved excellent, considering the fact that earlier in the week, like I said, I was really tired and fatigued from the other work. Also managed some sets of some seated military press. So again, want to focus on some shoulder work. I found that that translates well to my bench press. And then finally, a couple of sets on the reverse hyper. I also did pal-off press, which you're not going to see just because I forgot to record it. But I just did that with a band because some people asked how I did that without cables. But that was a work week and I felt good overall. And I'm looking forward to taking the weekend off, but then getting right back into it. Thanks for watching. And as always, stay big.